basically any place at that lake will produce. There isn't really, in my opinion, there really isn't a secret spot. You know, just go, just put in the time and fish it. Do I have any questions from anybody on what the exact setups are on these fly rods that I'm using?
What type of shooting head do you use?
Here's your, I'm using a T11 and I'm using a, it's a 7" per second on the shooter. It's 30 feet. You cut it down to 28, whatever it is you want to do. Are you familiar with using the shooting?
Yeah.
So you know to get it all the way out, the gut will false cast it out the guys, bring it back, double hull shoot.
Okay. Using like a 9-weight or?
Now, I'm using an 8-weight.
8-weight.
You can buy the intermediate 30-pound line, or you can do a shortcut and run 30-pound Suffolk Elite. This stuff shoots great. It has very little memory. What I'd do is I'd strip it all out and have my buddy stretch it beforehand, and just put it in the tub, and it's super slick. This is $9. This is $38.
That's a T11, you said?
This is the T11.
T11.
I have one T11 and one T14. Just depends how fast you want to get down to the bottom. And what you're comfortable shooting. One of them's like casting an anvil, you know. So if you're not real good at it, you know, the T14's a lot. You know, it's getting it loaded up out of the water. It's pretty tough. So I'll open it to questions now. Anybody have any questions?
I'm back on the license. Do you need a Nevada license?
No.
No. Just you just need the.
You're just paying the Paiute tribe. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's on the reservation, paying the reservation.
Those people just respect it. You know, they don't sweat you. You know, they watch. I mean, they're aware of what's going on in their lake. But for the most part, everybody there is. You're not going to see any kind of combat fishing there like you do here, anywhere here in California. Most of the locals are really, really kind. They're gentle. But if one of them tells you don't fish in an area, make sure you fish it. If he says don't fish right there, make sure you fish there. You can go up to anybody there, ask them what they're doing, how they're doing it, watch them. You know, everybody's really respectful. Both of the tribal police that are there, Bob and the other guy, I can't remember his name, they're really respectful. If you know, we've ended up in the wrong place before not knowing, and they'll just say, hey, you know, this is a restricted area now, it's under the closure. And you just leave and you just respect them. Make sure you pick up all your trash. And I advocate, you know, limiting your take. Don't take your limit. I mean, those fish are pretty special to us. And at one time they were eradicated from that lake totally. So through the restoration efforts of that Paiute tribe, you know, they've done a great job and they've managed it fantastically. And I wish they'd transfer those practices over here to places like the American Feather and wherever else.
But what is the limit?
You have it's a 2 trout limit, right? But you can only keep one fish over 24. So if you have 2 24-inch fish and that's all you catch all day, you can only keep one of those fish. But you can keep one between the 17 to 20-inch slot and the one in the 24. So basically, they're giving you an opportunity to catch your trophy fish if you want to put it on the wall and keep it. And they're also giving you the opportunity for an eater if that's what you want.
Is that 24 or larger?
24 and larger. So it's 24 to oblivion. Wherever else, you know, go however big of a fish you catch.
Now, for somebody who just goes there for their first time, is it best to look for the firing line and just move in there?
My best advice for you is the people are there because the fish are there.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is. I mean, I have seen pelican light up like Christmas. I mean, every rod lit up. So, I mean, if you see a lot of people there, there's a reason for it. Give that area a shot. If you don't feel your mojo there, get in your truck and look around and find out what's going on. Pay attention also to where the boats are holding. If the boats are holding out far in an area, I wouldn't fish that area. If they're holding it close to an area where nobody's at, and they keep making passes through there, they're catching fish.
You know, if you're using a lot of shooting nets, if you can find an IM6, G limits, 10-foot 7, That is the best shooting rod ever made.
Oh, I bet it is.
It'll throw a 9, you need a 9 or a 10 to load this. And it'll throw 120 feet with one false cast.
Just one cast, I like it.
And it'll pick up.
I don't typically, I mean, my conventional rods for stripers and stuff like that are all Limases, I swear by Limases. But I do advise against taking anything high dollar out because of the high speed. I wouldn't run my reels. I mean, I bring out basic stuff that gets me out there.
All I have is Abel's.
So when you do that, this is another part that I need to cover. When you do that, make sure, if you've got the bottled water at the lake, as soon as you're done fishing for the day, pour that bottled water over it because they will eat your reels and destroy your drags. That's the only drawback about it. All of your flies that don't have rust-proof hooks, pour water over it. Otherwise, let's see, I know I've got some stuff in here that's just rusted to death. Yeah, otherwise, see that rust? Otherwise, they'll just rust to death and the next fish you catch won't be caught. So, yeah, do pay attention to that. I forgot about that. Last year, I went out on a whim and tried something. So I said, well, I'm tired of using the beetle. I want to see if something else works. I've caught like 500 fish today, and I want to experiment. So I set this same Paiute bob rig up, except for I attached a hot shot to it. Frog pattern. I had one in my box. It works. Let's just put it that way. So what's going on there is you're casting it out there. It's rising up, you're bringing it back, but now instead of just pulling like this, it's got this wiggle that drives them bananas. Oh, it's digging the bottom, it's wiggling, it's kicking stuff up. Yeah, it'll send them over the edge. Anything like that, it's going to rise up in the water column and dance. It's money. I mean, go ahead.
I want to mention about safety up there.
Oh, definitely. I'm glad that you brought that up. The wind turns in an instant, right? And we were just out there. We have video, probably on YouTube. We were on these ladders, all 3 or 4 or 5 of us, and we were getting hit with at least 5 foot, 5.5 foot white cap rollers. So in waders, in 48-degree water, not a good idea. So know your limitations and know your boundaries. Do be careful, on top of this rung of the ladder or this rung of the ladder doing some wild cast because you're trying to get it out there. Do not fall in that water. I have done it, and it is not fun. It's like, I likened it to 40 billion pins and needles hitting you all at once. It's not fun. It will take your breath from you, and you better get out, and you better get undressed, and you better get in a goose down sleeping bag. Not now, but right now. So you can get hurt out there.
Mention the clay too.
Oh, yeah. There's some areas. There's some areas on the south side, and there's some areas to the left of the boat launch at Pelican that have some really slick clay bottoms. Most of it's sand, but you're going to hit some areas that have this really, really slick clay, and you better have spikes, studs, because if you just have felt, you are subject to falling, and water is not warm. So, yeah, definitely be careful. Definitely be careful on that ladder. Make sure when you get up on your ladder, what I like to do is I like to bring it out there and get it set, and I'll walk around the front of it, and I'll get the front set, and I'll get it set level inside that sand to where I want it to go. So I'm not getting on it and it's keeling over on me. So make sure your ladder's set, and make sure it's solid before you get up there and start casting away.